Well, guys, we're back on the lockdown files because what those who see through the lies from the start were saying has been proven correct, while we also have the Telegraph attempting to shift blame from themselves onto others. Now, yes, we all know Hancock's being used as a scapegoat in all this, and the information we're getting's not even the half of it, but as I've said before, this information will be new to those who can't see the wood for the trees when it comes to all this. Here, though, you see last night's lockdown files release, including snippets of these low-life ponces choosing when to release new variants. Yeah, that is a message screenshot showing the utter scumbags planning when to frighten the public with new strains just before Christmas 2020. Here Hancock writes, "We frightened the pants off everyone with the new strain." After that he goes on about Brexit before another one of the scumbags agrees that this will get the behaviour change they want. Then, and as suspicious as it gets, we have Matt Hancock writing this: "When do we deploy the new variant?"
In the quiet words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
This, I'm sure, has many people who got played by these ponces asking what the fuck, because the last I checked the virus wasn't an infantry battalion you deployed to the battlefield or anything like that. That there should make everyone question pretty much everything about all this if they didn't already, because at best it shows them hiding what they said was a deadly virus from the public until the best moment to scare them, and at worst it means they're working to a script and so-called new variant releases were designed to keep it going for as long as bloody possible. Now, I know which one I think it is, but to be honest, it don't get any better further on, because they know the more variants they push, the harder it becomes to push the jab. Here, in response to the new variant deploy comment, we have Damon Poole answering with this: "Big risk with the variant. Right-wing papers go for a renewed push for let it rip on the basis the vaccine strategy's undermined." To which Hancock then replies, "That's why we reassure on the vaccine." Now remember, this is December 13th, 2020, so only 12 days after the Pfizer jab was approved. This means there's no possible way they could have run jab studies on any new variants to know if it worked or bloody not. That should send alarm bells ringing to people, but something that pisses me off about all this is the fact that the Telegraph just stopped there. I'm sure there's a lot of other text in that conversation that will likely continue that the public should actually know. I mean, after that, they moved on to talk about pushing masks on people, which we know they did to increase compliance and fear, not for any medical reason. Simon Case, for instance, talks about ramping up messaging because the fear and guilt factors are vital in his eyes. This to many might seem trivial, but you gotta ask yourself, why, if there's a deadly pandemic stalking the land, do politicians need to increase fear among the public? Surely a deadly pandemic would do that on its own, would it not? Instead, though, we had crap like this from the BBC and others.
Well, Clive Murray has spent 10 days filming at the Royal London Hospital, speaking to staff, patients and family members about how they're coping with the pandemic. Let's look at a part of that special report, and just to warn you as well that some of you may find the images in this report distressing.
The birth of a new day brings a familiar demon. More COVID infections and more death. And it's others who must stare into the abyss.
Oh yeah, the media must not be left out on this, and that includes the BBC, as you know. They took part in the Project Fear they're calling out here, and in many cases actually led the politicians on it. The media many times bounced hapless politicians into deranged U-turns and off-the-cuff policy choices that made no sense but ruined people's lives all the same. Be it lockdowns, tier systems or hotel quarantines, they played their part in all of it and then pushed the jab like Big Pharma's bitch boy. This people like Matt Hancock loved because it made pushing the crap he had in mind even easier, and that's what these text messages show. Here you see him talking to Patrick Vallance about the media preferring doom and gloom that Hancock's decide should be used to their advantage. This once again means scaring the public despite other studies at the time saying things were looking up. So that is the media leading Project Fear while scummy politicians and scientists use it to further their own agenda. This you can see is why the BBC decided to cover its arse in their coverage of these text messages this morning. They completely omit the parts about the media preferring doom and gloom. I'm sure you're going to be shocked.
The former Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, told aides he wanted to frighten the pants off everyone to ensure COVID compliance with COVID-19 restrictions, in the latest leaked messages that have been published in the Sunday Telegraph.
Yeah, the WhatsApp exchanges today show how Mr Hancock and others discussed how to use an announcement about the Kent variant in December 2020 to scare the public into changing their behaviour. Our political correspondent Helen Catt has this report.
For several days, The Telegraph has been publishing leaked messages sent between the former Health Secretary Matt Hancock and others during the pandemic. With the latest batch, they accuse Mr Hancock and his team of engaging in a kind of Project Fear. On the 14th of December 2020, Mr Hancock announced the existence of the Kent variant of coronavirus. It had been growing as a proportion of cases, including in London, where there had been a steep rise. The Sunday Telegraph has published a message exchange from the day before, where Mr Hancock appears to discuss potential resistance by the Mayor of London to a possible lockdown in the city. His aide suggests, rather than doing too much signalling, we can roll the pitch with the new strain. Mr Hancock replies, we frighten the pants off everyone with the new strain. The paper has also published a message from the head of the civil service, Simon Case, sent the following month during the third lockdown. In it, he talks about ramping up messaging, adding fear/guilt factor vital. The messages were leaked to the paper by the journalist Isabel Oakeshott, who has been a vocal critic of lockdowns.
Yeah, never forget, the media want to rewrite history just as much as politicians do. The damage they did with lockdowns was incredible, and the people lost will never see true justice because that's just the way it works. The media will cover as much of it up as they can, while politicians walk away scot-free. It don't matter what evidence comes forward, so please don't expect criminal charges or anything stemming from this. At best, it'll help show people we were right all along, and might hopefully mean more people stand against it if or when they try it again. Now, something else I should mention is the possibility that these text messages are being used to destroy trust in our government and institutions to usher in the WHO Global Pandemic Treaty.
The World Health Organization Pandemic Treaty is deeply concerning. It seeks to give the discredited WHO huge powers over this country and our people. Powers to call pandemics, enforce lockdowns, enforce vaccinations and decide when any pandemic is over. Can we have an urgent debate on the proposed treaty, which, if passed, will take accountability, democracy and sovereignty from our constituents and hand it over to unelected and discredited bureaucrats? Mr Speaker, that will be the antithesis of Brexit itself.
This, I have to say, is not likely to be the case because these scumbags have shown us that they don't need to do things like that to create the situation we see a couple of years ago. They will just do it because they own the media and big tech, and as the past few years have shown, that is what they need. We will be signed up to the Global Pandemic Treaty regardless of text messages, and to think the scumbags need an excuse to do it is giving them too much credit.
I shall certainly make his views known to both the Department for Health and the FCDO that will look after many of these international organisations. But I can tell him it is incredibly important. We know from the pandemic, and we know from other outbreaks such as Ebola, that these diseases know no borders, and it is only through international cooperation and collaboration together that we will arrive at the solutions to ensure we do not have a repeat of the last few years.
They know most people are either ignorant to what's going on until it's too late, or they can be bullied or bribed into compliance with constant propaganda. If you ask me, these text messages are being used to keep attention away from the elephant in the room, that is jabs, excess deaths, the contracts and all the rest of it. The Global Pandemic Treaty will be ratified in May next year, at which time these messages will be long forgotten by the people, and that will be the end of that. They'll sneak in the Pandemic Treaty and then use it when they need to. They sneak in most laws and international agreements without the need for the whole song and dance we're seeing with these messages.